Welcome to April and Debbie Dish the Truth on Weight Loss, where we share the raw, real, and sometimes messy truth about our weight loss journeys.
I am Debbie, a weight loss coach who has lost 100 pounds and have been living in maintenance for 4 years.
And I'm April, a weight loss coach, currently down 75 pounds and continuing my journey to lose 100 more.
Together, we'll explore the ups, downs, and everything in between, showing you that lasting weight loss is possible no matter where you are on your path.
Yes. And so this episode, we're going to talk about a topic that was sent in to us from Lori. Lori wrote, when I was in Weight Watchers, we earned extra points when we did activity, but I have learned since that movement makes me feel good. And while it supports weight loss, I don't get to overeat just because I worked out. I still need to pay attention to hunger and enough cues. How has movement affected your weight loss? So I love that she asked this, and it's just perfect timing because I have gotten off of my normal routine that I created of waking up and walking before work. So I wanted to share quickly one thing that I did about getting back into a routine because we kind of talk about this a lot where you've stopped doing something. How do I restart? Recommitting, all of the words that kind of make us already feel defeated. So
Mhm.
I don't personally think of, so winter hit, I talked about this before in other podcasts, that winter hit and I fell off of my routine. I didn't stick to the things that I was doing during the other months. So it's spring is coming and I'm getting into that mindset again. And one, I looked back and realized I don't want to handle this upcoming winter the same. So I'm mentally already starting to think like, what can I do differently? But for right now, to get back into my routine of what I had, I just started really simple with like the first step. And Debbie always talks about just take the first step, right? So I just went online and did a quick, I don't know if it'll show up here
I
that
see it.
you're
Yep.
listening, but it's just a blank April calendar. There's nothing on it. There's no fancy pictures or anything. It just says April and boxes with the days in it. And I personally wrote wake up willing because that's my personal mantra. And then I have my little book of stickers that when I do what I set up as a goal, I put a sticker on there and write down what I did because that's what works for me. But I want people to know it's so attainable. Anything that you want that will help you, there's a way to just get it and print it out, or if it's an app or whatever. But I think that taking that first step is so important. And when Lori asked about, when she talked about Weight Watchers and earning extra points, it's also similar to like if you're tracking calories, my fitness pal will let you add more calories if you've worked out because the concept is you have more energy to burn whatever. Or even in our own brains we'll tell ourselves like, oh, I took that walk today or I lifted those weights, so that extra, order of fries is okay. And we what's the word, we not debate it,
Justify it.
justify it, thank you, we
Yeah.
justify it in our brain. So I found it very helpful when I learned to change what movement meant to me. And Lori talks about that, which I thought was so great. Um, I don't connect it to my weight loss journey anymore. So even if I have a day that I didn't eat well or eat the way I wanted to or whatever, I still do movement because I feel good doing it. It's a time for me to also, so people who don't inherently want to do movement, which I would count myself as maybe one of those people. I don't necessarily
Me too.
love, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Love to wake up and earlier to do it before work, but I do enjoy the results of it. But I've added something fun to it. So like now I do my recumbent bike if it's like not great weather out, right? So I've added a show, a bubblegum for the brain show that I just love to watch. Kevin doesn't love to watch it. Um, but I am rewatching Grey's Anatomy from the very beginning. Now that's like 21
Oh,
seasons of a show, so I have a lot of content.
you got a lot you can watch.
And I'm down there for like 25 minutes, so it's gonna take me a very long time, but I look forward to it. And it just escape into the TV for a little bit, and I enjoy it. It's a moment for me in the morning before my day gets going. So I love that Lori has learned that for herself, and I'm interested too in how movement has entered your journey.
well, being the always continuing weight loss person that I was, you cannot lose weight unless you exercise like a crazy person, right? I mean, hasn't that always been what we have been taught?
Yeah.
And then like you said, we get to exercise so we can eat more. And if we want to lose weight, we don't want to give ourselves a reason to eat more. And so for me, when I started my weight loss journey, I was at the gym every single day and probably for an hour a day, every day. And you know what? I will tell you, at that time, I loved it. Like I was a 240-pound woman walking into the gym, and I knew I was going to get looks. I actually heard somebody talk about me while I was at the gym, and I just thought, I cannot come anymore, or I can keep coming and prove this person wrong. And then I realized I don't need to prove anything to that person. They can still have their thoughts, and I can still come to the gym because I want to. And so I will tell you, I loved like total body strength classes and the treadmill until I didn't.
Right.
And I think it was when COVID hit, I just, what a perfect excuse not to have to go anymore. And I have really firmly embraced that I don't like to exercise. And I know that that is not altogether true because when I go out for a walk or if I do yoga or if I do a total body strength class online, I always feel better. But I don't do it because I have convinced myself that I don't like to exercise, and that's not true. So that's something I've been working on. But I think exercise to exercise, because like you said, April, it makes your body feel so much better. Like I know when I go for a walk, I get to hear the birds. I sing my poor neighbors. I am singing Brandy Carlisle out loud. Kevin says, Debbie, I can hear you down the street. And when I have my headphones on, no, I don't think anybody hears me. So I now when I choose to exercise, I'm doing it just because I want to, because it feels good in the moment, not because it's something I need to do to be able to eat more. Does that, and I think that if we come to terms with that, like we are exercising because we love our body, we want to strengthen our body and not use it so you can eat more. Do it because you love your body and you want to see what happens when you show up for your body. And I do think I don't think you need to exercise to lose weight. I know there are people who will disagree with me on that, but I lost my weight the first year, probably. I exercised consistently. The next year, where I continued to lose my weight to my 100-pound goal, I didn't exercise maybe once a month. You know what I mean? So I think it's a different journey for everyone. And I think looking at our reasons for why we're exercising is so important.
I agree. The reasons, and I love how you said you were working on it. And I think one thing that I kept thinking of while you were talking was exercise. And we talk about how words matter all the time. And I feel like exercise, the word itself, has so many negative things to it. Like immediately when I hear exercise, I'm like, oh, there's another thing I have to do.
Yeah.
Where if I change it to even just saying to myself, I'm going to focus on my activity tomorrow. Activity sounds like fun, like it's an
Yeah.
activity, it's just something to do. And so, just the word play could change how somebody approaches something. And it will take some practice of changing it because you've called it one thing forever. But I also love that you shared that you lost weight without it because I do feel like people feel like it's a must have. And I
Mhm.
don't think it is a must have for everybody. It is a choice. And I do like to think about my mother-in-law. She's amazing. She's like 7. I'm gonna get her age wrong because I'm terrible at everybody's ages, but I know she's 77. I don't know. She's 70 something. I know she's older than 75 because I called her 75 one day. She's like, no, I'm 70 something. I was like, oh wow, really? She walks 5 miles a day every day in the morning.
Yeah.
She has done
Oh
it
my God.
forever. because
Yeah,
she loves it. She feels good with it. It's just what she does. She doesn't
yeah.
think of it as a have to. And if she doesn't get to do it, she misses it. And like it's because of a weather or whatever. But it fits for her. And she doesn't feel pressured to have to. We always hear about strength training, and it is so important. And we're learning just
Mm.
how important it is the more and more they look into it, especially as women age, and the strength and building muscle and protecting your bones. So I'm not saying it's not important, but I am saying that everybody's journey is different. And she is a very healthy, active woman. And she chose to just focus on walking because that's what she likes to do. And you, when you were doing classes, you liked doing the strength training. So that was
Yeah.
great. It's really about finding what works for you, what's important to you. And sometimes you'll choose to do something, even if you don't necessarily love it, but you like the results. Just like I don't love getting up out of bed at 5 a.m., but I do choose to do it because I love how I feel after. I feel like I accomplished something in the morning. I feel like I had that little brain rest of just watching a show that I enjoy with, not having to pay attention or think about anything else. And my body feels good and my brain's a little clearer. So it works for me. But there's always that point in the morning in that bed that I am talking to myself about, well, could do it later.
Negotiating, hustling yourself a
Yeah,
little bit,
there
right?
is. And I've gotten to the point where I do make a plan A and a plan B. And if I don't get up in the morning, then the goal is to walk at lunch. And if I don't walk at lunch, then the goal is that I walk when I get home. Like there's always like a another option. Um, and I think that's important too. But the other thing I want to talk about too with what Lori wrote in is she referenced hunger and enough cues. And I know a lot of people listen to us might be familiar with that, but I don't know if everybody is. So I did want to take a quick moment to share a little bit of a reference for that. So hunger and enough is definitely more about mindful eating, intuitive eating, learning your body's cues of learning how to be hungry. And so I wanted to see how we could have that accessible for everybody, right? Just how would somebody learn about hunger and enough? Um, just by Google. So I Googled, and the very first thing that came up was from the University of California, Berkeley, and what they call it the hunger satiety scale. Oh, I said it right the first time. I always struggle with that word. And I'll just do a quick, like, if you're watching the YouTube video, but if you're not, it's the link. We're going to put the link of this reference point in the podcast notes. But it gives a 1 through 10, and it also gives a little explanation of it. And like 1 is starving, no energy, very weak, and then you go all the way up to 10, extremely stuffed, nauseous, and then it gives some guidelines at the bottom. I thought it was a really great reference. And if anybody checks that out and then has questions and wants us to talk about that more in other podcasts, absolutely let us know, because I know Debbie and I probably have a lot to say about that one too.
Yeah.
Um,
And I love that tool that you shared because I think that it is so like we often think, "Oh my gosh, I'm full," but you know what? There really are levels of full. You know what I mean? Like last night, we went out to a show and Kevin and I shared 3 appetizers, didn't need 3. Then we went to the show and I bought a movie-sized box of Reese's Pieces, and that wasn't enough. So I went back and got a small popcorn with extra butter. And when I got to the end of it, there was probably like 3 tablespoons of butter in it. And so then I got home and ate some cheese. So last night, my full was probably a 10. And I'm not hungry this morning because I had so much last night. So I think that's such a great tool and a great visual as we are learning, as people learn what is hunger and what is enough.
yeah, it is learning, right? I'm glad that you said that. We're all learning, and it's a different day-to-day experience. So like you had your day yesterday and you made these choices and you ate, and then at the end of the day you were kind of like, oh well, that might have been too much. Maybe I'll look into how I would handle that. I had a very similar experience, so I'll share that too. So last night we ordered Chinese and I ordered what I wanted, and I was not paying attention to my thoughts or hunger. I just kind of was eating and I overate for sure. And I felt definitely it was a 10, extremely stuffed. I did not feel good. And immediately I said to Kevin, like, I did not need to eat all that. Next time I'm going to make 2 plates. I'm going to make a plate for, dinner and then put the other half away for another meal. It was definitely enough for 2 meals. And I wrote that on the Chinese menu. So the next time I pull out that Chinese menu to order, I will see the reminder of what I'm ordering. And then I put a note underneath it, make a plate, and put the other half away for another meal. So in those moments, we recognized it, we listened, we assessed, and we made a choice of how we want to handle things in the next time that comes up. And I think that's so important and always goes back to the choices we talk about and the learning process of that.
Yes, and I when you were talking before, I made a couple of notes. So I love that when you go for a walk, if you do not get up at 5 a.m. and go for a walk, you have not failed. Like you
Mhm.
or I did not fail. I have an opportunity to do it at lunchtime. I have an opportunity to do it at dinner. And I think that that is so important. Like just because plan A didn't work doesn't mean we don't have B, C, D, however many we need to accomplish that in the day. I think that just gives so much compassion. I think it can provide so much compassion for that 5 a.m. self that doesn't want to get out of bed because it's raining or you just don't want to get out of bed. And I also love the choice of what to call it. Like when I go, like exercise does have a negative connotation for a lot of people. And like I was thinking about what you wake up willing and you go out and do your activity. And for me, when I go for a walk, I love where I live and there are turkeys every morning. There are birds everywhere. You know what I mean? Like life is
Mhm.
just waking up. And so going out to visit, because I do talk to them, so I'm like, oh, basically stay away from me. Turkeys don't attack me, is really what I'm saying. But I say it in a nice, friendly, high voice. But, to embrace that, I'm going out to say good morning to the world waking up. Whatever makes it softer for it feels better because our brains do remember exercise. All those negative things, it's just used to saying them. So softening them just makes it more that you want to do it sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. And I have 2 thoughts on that. One about the exercise and how it has the negative. I don't know if anybody else can relate. I'm guessing somebody else that there will. But for me growing up, I dreaded gym class. I was
Oh,
not
God.
the best
Mm.
at crawling up the rope or doing all the things they wanted us to do in exercise class for gym time. And so I think sometimes my brain goes back there. Like that's what I attached to it. Like all of those things they had me do that I was in class and I wasn't able to do. And kids made fun of me because I couldn't. I don't know if you had to do that in your school, but we had this
Oh,
big,
we
like
did.
rope
Yes.
that you had to try to climb up. I couldn't. I just didn't have whatever I needed. I used to do gymnastics and I love gymnastics, but that rope, that was a no for me. And everybody watching me trying to get up this rope, I hated it.
Oh my God. It
But
was, yeah, the
yeah.
standardized testing, like doing, and I remember I, as soon as you talked about gym class, my two
Mhm,
friends that we sat on the bench all the time because we didn't want to do gym came
mhm.
immediately to my mind because there were the people who were jocks and could do all the things and then there were people who like me I didn't wasn't something I embraced so it yeah I could
Yeah,
never
and
gone.
but I loved like, I used to do gymnastics, I played softball, I swam, I biked, like, I loved all those activities that
Yes.
I liked to do, but gym class with the exercise routines that they would give us, I just didn't conform to that. I didn't my body didn't like it, and it didn't work, and so your brain goes there and is like, "Whoa, that's not something we like to do."
Right, and then like you're saying, the swimming and the act like I rode my
Yeah,
bike all summer. We walked
yeah,
all over the place, and that was fun. I go
yes.
back to John Acuff all the time with making the things that we do fun because everybody
Mhm.
wants to win a game. You know what I mean? You want to have fun. So if we embrace the fun, like not everything is fun, but you can find fun in everything, I think. So if we embrace that a little bit with the activities.
Yeah, and I like too when you talked about opportunities, how changing that there's choices and there's opportunities. And that's absolutely what I invite anybody who is wanting to work movement or activity into their day to look at opportunities. And I just talked with my client last week about this, that she's her day is very busy. I cannot take that away from her. She has a very high demanding job and a lot to do at home and stuff like that. There's always opportunities that you can find little moments. Like we always think of movement as like, or an activity as I have to do 30 minutes or I have to do an hour, I have to go to the gym. All of these ideas of what is the right way to get movement in. But as Debbie and I talk about all the time, there's no one right way.
Mhm.
So in those moments, her and I talked about like she has a very hard time even getting a lunch break, but everybody gets to go to the bathroom. Nobody questions you going to the bathroom. So when you're in the bathroom, you can do 5 to 10 squats or 5 to 10 wall push-ups, which I have done in my life. I'm not gonna
I love wall push-ups.
yeah, wall push-ups are great. And it's very accessible for people like me. I, with my knees and back issues, really have a difficult time getting on the ground. So wall push-ups are an absolute way to do that safely. But if you go to the bathroom a few times a day and you add 5 to 10, that's possibly 40 to 50 wall push-ups or squats. That's significant. That's pretty good. It's better than zero, right? Or if you're in a meeting in your office and it's a phone call, like you're on speaker, you can
Yep.
absolutely stand up from your desk and pace or squats there or whatever you want to do. But there's ways to move throughout your day. I know one woman, she actually was my Weight Watcher leader years ago. And she used to tell us that when she went and pumped gas, you know how they have the little, it's like raised up a little.
Yeah.
So that little raise up, she would do step ups while she was pumping her gas.
Oh,
I mean, that's amazing. That's a moment right there. That's an
yeah.
opportunity that you get to do something. And I also heard some people talking about, I watched a YouTube video and they were referencing how we can eat the same foods now as we used to years ago, but we gain weight. And we all know that foods are different now and the sizes of what we call a small are very different. But they also talked about how regular day to day movement was more than what we do now. A lot of our jobs are very
Oh,
sedentary, sitting at
yeah.
a desk. I sit at a desk most of the days. But back then, this woman was talking about how to get your groceries, you were walking the street. You had to walk to the butcher. You walked to the milk person. You went to each individual store where now we have all of it in one store. So you're not getting as much walking in. It was very interesting to see how times have changed and these little things make a difference. So if you're
Yeah.
able to incorporate little things throughout the day, that will make a difference.
It will. And I used to squat when I was brushing my teeth. I
Mhm.
was in that habit. I was so proud of myself. That's something I can implement today. Like just
Mhm.
because I've stopped doing it doesn't I can never do it again because I failed. No, and I forgot
Right.
about wall push-ups. So thank you for that reminder.
Oh,
Um,
you're welcome.
because it's finding those moments. Like if
Yes.
I'm on a call at work and I know it's going to be, I'll do laps around the conference table. I mean,
Mhm.
I can sit at my desk and talk, or I can walk and talk.
Yes.
And you know, she also mentioned that I still need to pay attention to her hunger cues. And,
Mhm.
um, you know, Laura, you do still need to pay attention to your hunger cues. And I notice when I do incorporate movement into my day, that my body sometimes speaks a little bit louder to me, that it wants a little bit more food. And that's okay, right? Because we expended energy. And so maybe it would appreciate a boiled egg or some jerky or something just to help. I'm getting better at protein, April. I just want you to know that. Um, It's a work in progress, but I'm doing it. And so I think our bodies, yes, we still have to pay attention to our hunger cues when we are doing movement. And we also need to understand that on those days that we do movement, depending on what it is, our body just may want a little extra food. And it's and it's okay. It's okay. And it's not because you earned the extra food by, if you're counting calories, your body wants it to replenish the energy that it spent in
I think that's
exercising.
so great that you talk about that and the fact that you say it's okay and something to realize, movement or no movement, your body is going to have different hunger levels day to day. That is the natural course of the body. Some days you will feel more hungry, and some days you will not feel as hungry. And this is something that I struggled with. And on the days that I wasn't as hungry, I felt like I nailed it. I was so good today, this, that, and the other. And then the days where I felt hungry, I'm like, oh, I just can't get this right. Like, why do I have to eat so much today? Like, I was judging what my body was telling me. But when I, over time, it all balanced out and I would still lose weight for the whole month because I paid attention and I honored what my body needed for those days and not judging those days. It's natural to be hungrier sometimes and it's natural to not be as hungry sometimes. And both of those are equally fine.
Yeah, and it's the taking the judgment out. And I probably one of the most everything is so important. I think I say that every week, but taking the judgment away from ourselves, like
Mhm.
off of ourselves, gives us so much freedom. And I mean, just embrace what your body needs because, like you said, April, our bodies tell us so much. Like, we just need to listen. We listen when we have to go pee. We do not sit in our chair and pee our pants, or I haven't. Yeah, I don't do that. So I should also listen to my body when it says I've had enough or I'm hungry. Like, those are things that need to be paid attention to too. So, and our
Yeah.
bodies
And
are
the
a gift of
judgment,
messaging.
the
Sorry.
what again?
Our bodies are a gift of messaging to us.
Yes. And sometimes because we talk about the body, but there's also the brain and the
Mhm.
heart and the emotion. And sometimes you will choose. I will admit that last night when I overate, it was from emotional eating. I didn't tune into it at that time. I did not tune into it until after when I was talking to a friend and they asked like, what's going on? And but that was okay. I did not make myself feel bad or judge myself or feel like I failed. You talked about failure. I think us feeling like we are a failure because we don't do anything or something exactly right is so detrimental to the journey. So I looked at what was happening in my week this week and I thought, okay, yeah, I am more emotionally charged. And so that's probably why I indulged last night and was not tuning into my hunger and enough signals of when I was at enough with dinner, and that's okay. And today I woke up, I'm going to be more intentional and more aware of when I'm eating and why I'm eating. And that's for today. Like that is such a relief because in the past I would have made myself feel like such crap
Oh
for
my God.
overeating
Mhm.
Chinese dinner that I would have overeaten for another week, which makes no logical sense, but we all know that's how the cycle goes. But now that I've incorporated compassion and wanting to learn and understand why I overate, the next day, my recovery of moving into my normal eating again is seamless almost.
It's so good. And you know what? And we show up the next day, the you may have continued to overeat in the past, and
Mhm.
I would have shown up with restriction, like, oh my gosh, I ate all of this last night. I can't eat
Yeah.
anything today. And so I think this is such a great way to share with you. I've loved talking about Lori's question and the exercise and the movement. But next week, and I think this is so key, especially after the nights that we both had last night.
Mhm.
What do you do after you have eaten all of the things? How do you continue, which I think is so important? I mean, April, you've given me such a love of the C words: continuing, choice, consistency. So, how do you continue on your journey without feeling that you quit or you need to restart or you need to recommit? We will also talk about building resilience after you go off your normal routine. So I'm really excited to talk about that next week. And I will tell you that likely between now and next time we talk, I will have an overeat and I will know that I am not quitting. I will know that I am continuing to learn and to grow. And I can't wait to talk about it more with you next week.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a great topic. We both experience it. And I think most of us, if not all of us, experience it and will take something away from it, I hope.
Yeah, look forward to that. So I have a lot of sunflower clothes. I have another sunflower on today. So, you know what? Keep blooming. Life is great and it's spring and just embrace your day today and just make it the best day you can have.
Yes. And as always, wake up willing to do something that feels good to you.
And we appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Send in your questions. Visit our Facebook page and email us. Everything is April and Debbie Dish the Truth. Email is at Gmail. So reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Take care.
Bye.